The most overused term in the English dictionary isn't the, and it most certainly isn't and. And of course, you plebeians would think that. Well, the word isn't and the, it's actually mid. And especially within the anime community, mid is an overused term. Hot diggity dog, have you heard of the greatest opening of all time, the rumbling from Attack on Titan?
Yeah, it's mid.
Okay. What about the stellar animation in Demon Slayer that blew my socks off?
Yeah, it's mid.
Do you know any other words than mid?
What's a mid?
Demon Slayer, the definition of mid. People use the term mid so often nowadays, it has lost all meaning. Mid doesn't mean trash or overrated, it just means average. And as much as you may disagree with this, Demon Slayer is not mid, but the manga is.
Ihr schnauzt sich seit Ewigkeiten bei mir durch und Sie wollen mich nicht wieder einstellen wegen so einem dämlichen Dreck!
This anime is truly a work of art. Each episode strives to be better than the previous one. But even with stellar animations and amazing OSTs, that doesn't really save a bad story. Luckily, when it comes to Demon Slayer, it's not a bad story, it's just an average one. With it being an average story with very average characters, it may not go down as one of the greatest shows to have ever been made. This will not be the best anime of all time, but it is by far one of the best and honestly, if not the best anime adaptation I have ever seen. Most anime adaptations are worse than the manga because the manga can portray the entire story so much better, make it easier to grasp, or to not be ruined by trash animations, or even worse, CGI, like Berserk 2016.
What the hell? Oh my god, no way.
You have anime like One Piece, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and so many others that the manga is the superior version. Now, I am not saying these are all bad adaptations because they are far from that. Like, have you seen the latest episodes of One Piece? For One Piece, the anime has portrayed some of the more emotional moments better than the actual manga. And that is only because they were able to add in music, voice acting, and sometimes even fluid animations to make scenes like Usopp vs. Luffy hurt so much harder than the actual manga counterpart. These shows I would usually recommend people to read the manga instead of watch the anime. The art is usually so much better, and plus for long-running shonen, there is no filler. But there are times where the anime shines brighter than their manga counterparts. For example, in the early days of Attack on Titan, the art was lacking, and some of the directions taken in the manga were not the best. But then we get this stellar work from Wit Studio and MAPPA who really brought Isayama's work to life. We might get anime like Jujutsu Kaisen, which are popular because of the stellar fight scenes, beautiful choreographed scenes, and of course the best reason of all, Gojo. The manga may not be bad, but it's not as great as the anime. Or at least in my humble trash taste opinion, because you know, I am a Gintama fan. Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer are similar ratings for me in everything. I much prefer the animes over the mangas. Both manga I actually found incredibly boring due to the plot being something really basic, and really none of the characters really making me want to stay. In both, there aren't really bad characters, but average ones. None of them really made me care too much about them, and honestly doesn't really add too much for me. Now, that doesn't mean every character is like that. In Jujutsu Kaisen, we have Gojo, Nanami, Todo, and Maki. In Demon Slayer, you might get fun characters like Tengen, Rengoku, Inosuke, and Zenitsu when he is sleeping. Even with me feeling like both stories and casts are just incredibly average for a manga, the anime for both destroy the competition. We may call Demon Slayer mid, we may say that the story sucks, but have you seen the animations and OSTs for all the seasons? Episode 19 of the first season was one of the first times I have ever seen so many people talk about one anime. Even my parents were talking about it, and they don't like anime. Granted, they were trying to figure out why it was at the top of their page on Facebook, but hey, it still counts. Demon Slayer needed an adaptation like that to be even remotely successful. It was well deserving of the Anime of the Year award in 2019. Whether you like it or not, that's the truth. Were there better pits in that year? Of course, there will always be better pits in it. The story is very much so lacking in a lot of areas. It's not the most interesting story, it's a very cliche story, and it can offer up some plot holes. It didn't have any characters that really stood out as the next Light Yagami of characters. It wasn't like Vinland Saga, which probably should have taken the Anime of the Year, because of how amazing the characters were, the animations, and of course the plot was just fantastic. But it didn't have as big of an impact as Demon Slayer did, where we had big influencers like Ninja, Moist Critical, Jacksepticeye, and so many others talking about it. As much as I would have loved to have Vinland Saga take it that year, the impact of Demon Slayer could not be be overlooked. With something like Demon Slayer, you will always have massive haters towards a show like this. People will always ditch something super popular because it's popular, because they want to go against the grain and make it their entire personality. But then again, some of the people's favorite animes are called "If My Favorite Pop Idol Made it to Budokan, I Would Die," or something super obscure like that, while others ditch on it because of how ravenous the show's fanbase is, like My Hero Academia's. The same fanbase that if some of the fans hear that you don't ship Bakugo, Todoroki, Deku, and Anomo together, they'll push you off a cliff. The same could be said about some of the Demon Slayer fanbase who will go around saying it's the best anime to have ever existed even though they've only seen like 5. Just like how Dragon Ball fans proclaim that Dragon Ball is the best anime to have ever existed because Goku slaps everyone. A single fanbase should never judge anyone's opinion on a series. Are some of them bad? Yeah. Do most of their opinions suck? Well, of course. But when should someone dictate what you like and dislike? If you love something and are passionate about it, you should never let anyone change your opinions on it because you like it. Demon Slayer's fanbase shouldn't dictate someone's enjoyment of the series. If you do not like it, then that is fine. Not everyone should like everything some other people like. For me, something like Serial Experiments Lain come to mind. A bunch of my friends loved it, but I couldn't enjoy it. I actually hated the series in its entirety. It's my least favorite anime of all time. But I respect their opinions because I'm happy that some people can enjoy the series, even though for me, there is no redeeming qualities of it. And for me, Demon Slayer is just super beautiful to watch. I almost enjoy every episode I watch. With the manga, couldn't even keep my interest like the anime did. Demon Slayer will probably be one of the best animated anime to have ever been made. And with each new season, the animation improves. The opening songs are always banging. I will probably always be astonished by how this anime takes arts I may not have been interested in when I read the manga and make me invested. But the only constant from this series that will forever be the same is that Zenitsu will always be an absolute little bitch.